Welcome, Karyn. I am so excited to be talking with you today. And before we jump in, please go ahead and share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
My name is Karyn Anderson. I'm the founder and owner of Total Sum LLC. We are a boutique bookkeeping firm in Texas, although we do service clients all over the US and even abroad. And our specialty, while we do service many industries, our specialty is actually legal and trust accounting.
Perfect. And can you go ahead and share a little bit about how things were actually before you and I met and started working together?
Things were hectic, to say the least. I was basically overworked and underpaid, working 7 days a week, and just didn't seem like I was ever getting ahead.
And were there other things maybe that you felt like you were tolerating in your practice and you just didn't know how to fix those things?
I think quite a few things. I didn't know how to approach my clients on making some changes. I didn't, and I was struggling with how to hire and manage staff. So that was a big thing for me.
And then what was it that made you decide to look for help and contributed to us actually teaming up and working together?
I knew it was gonna be one or two things. I was either just gonna keep being underworked and overpaid and working 7 days a week from feeling like I was an employee of my business, or I was gonna have to do something differently if I wanted it to change. I just didn't know how to do things differently. So I knew I needed help.
hmm And a lot of times the work that I do has to do with how to communicate value and pricing your services. What were some of the challenges going on with you around that?
I think I struggled with how to price. I struggled with I was afraid that I would be overpricing, and I was afraid to approach my clients about, increasing our rates.
Okay. Then now that you look back, did you feel that you were overpricing your clients?
Oh gosh, no. I was severely underpricing my clients.
Uh, 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 I appreciate the transparency on that. So thank you. And when we were talking about moving forward and working together, did you feel that there were any things maybe getting in the way or obstacles that kept you from making that decision?
I think I think there were probably two main obstacles for me. The first one was that it is a financial investment, and being that I was kind of struggling on the financial side of things, that was a big concern. But the other side of it was really, did I have the time to participate and work with a coach? Because I was already overworked and working 7 days a week.
And you went ahead and jumped in anyway, even though there were some financial considerations, there was the time constraints. And how have you see things changed because you made that decision to jump in? What changed for you?
Oh, goodness. Well, I haven't had to worry about the cost involved because I've more than made back that cost just in probably the first 2 months. Um, so that really almost immediately that fear was alleviated. And the fact that I'm not working 7 days a week and I'm working, directly with you as a coach, that's teaching me a lot of things that I wouldn't have known otherwise.
Okay, I just want to re-clarify. You made back your full investment within 2 months, which
Yeah.
I didn't fully realize. That makes me very happy to hear
Yeah.
that. If you were working 7 days a week before, how many hours or days a week are you working now?
I am working 5 days a week now, and usually only about 8 hours a day.
hmm And then some of the other things that I've seen is that you've been able to bring on higher value clients, and also you've had to increase your staff. Is that correct?
I have, yes.
hmm Plus, I hear that there's a new house on the way.
There is. I'm excited because something my husband and I have always wanted to do was buy an antique home and lovingly restore it. But working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, it was just a pipe dream. And
That's the part that excites me.
yes, and we're actually under contract on a house now that is actually about an hour from my office, which means I will only be in the office about 3 days a week now instead of seven.
Okay, then part of what we're talking about also is that not only are you increasing your income, you've reduced your workload,
Mhm.
which actually adds to the percentage of profit. but you are now buying your dream home. Because you've created boundaries in between work and life. You've gotten back some of that balance that you didn't have before.
I quit. Yes, I quit. I'm no longer an employee of my business.
I am so happy to hear that. So let's go ahead and just share what are some specific strategies which helped you to grow your bank account and free up your time?
I think the biggest thing was I was given, number one, I was giving away too much free work. And at the same time, in giving away that free work, I wasn't pricing my services correctly. And I was, in many cases, underpricing my services. So, for example, we used to do diagnostics for free. We no longer do that. We charge for a diagnostic. And by now having the client pay me to do that diagnostic, I'm more invested in spending more time and evaluating their needs. And in having more time to evaluate their needs, I can better price my services.
And I want to clarify because not everybody follows this workflow when they first get into the accounting field. You're doing a diagnostic, and can you explain what it is that means? What kind of work are you actually doing when you do a paid diagnostic?
Basically, we're like a mechanic that's getting under the hood, and we're looking at everything underneath that hood and figuring out what needs to be fixed.
And are you doing any fixing during that diagnostic?
Oh, no, it's just an observation.
Okay.
So we do the diagnostic and we observe and we report back to the potential client on what needs to be fixed.
Okay, you're now doing something that you did for free because you didn't know how to charge for it before, which means that you created a new stream of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're getting paid for it, you're actually able to scope out the project better than you would have before when you were doing it for free and giving it away. As a result of you taking that time now to really dig in and look at what's going on, has that affected how you go ahead and you price your projects?
It does, because most of the times once we've done these diagnostics, we find many mistakes that need to be corrected. And in the past, when we would do this kind of correction work for the clients, we would do it on an hourly rate. We don't do that anymore. We base it on the value and the time spent plus the value. And because of that, we're charging probably 3 times what we would normally have charged based off of an hourly rate.
Okay, I'm just going to reframe that because that was so important. What you said was golden. Yeah. Because the fact that you got paid to do a diagnostic and you were able to really scope it out, you're now able to see exactly what's going on, share that with the client, and they're actually investing 3 times more on a fixed fee than if you would have charged your regular hourly rate.
Yes.
Congratulations on doing that.
Thank you.
And what are some of the things that you do to maybe analyze and quote a project that's in addition to what we've already been touching on? Anything else that you're doing?
Not really. It's just kind of, taking a look. Well, I think, maybe so. Let me try that again. In addition to looking under the hood and evaluating what needs to be done and how to do the work going forward if the client decides to enroll in monthly services, we're also kind of evaluating the client because that's going to determine how well we can work with that client. And there's a cost to that.
Mm-hmm. Have you found that you're working with a better client and some of the headache clients you're just realizing aren't a good fit and not working with them because of that?
I have, because while we're doing the diagnostics and the cleanup work, it really gives you a sense of who that client is and if that's somebody you want to work with long term. So then we get to make the decision at that point if we want to work long term with that client or not.
Okay, then that's one more boundary that you have in your practice that you didn't have before. It's not only are you working less hours, but now you get to cherry pick your clients and see if they're fit in the beginning before they go into a monthly. And if you realize that maybe they're going to be someone that you're chasing for money or information, or they're not responsive, you just decide early on not to even roll them into that monthly.
Exactly.
That's really sweet. It's a game changer. It reduces stress.
It is. It does.
Now, raising your rates is something that sometimes is on people's minds for months or years before they actually do anything about it. How long were you thinking about raising your clients' rates?
Oh, I've been thinking about it probably for a good 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times also what I see is you might raise your rates with new clients coming in, but not with your legacy clients. What was your experience?
I was actually pleasantly surprised that I had no pushback from my legacy clients.
Okay, then you actually have gone back to your legacy clients and brought them up to your new rates?
Some of them, I'm doing it in stages, but
Mhm.
all the ones I've approached so far have not given me a difficult time about it.
So now that you know that it was easier than what you thought it was, what were some of the concerns that you had that kept you from doing it?
I had concerns that they were going to, argue over the price and, you know, why are you increasing me? I've been at the same rate for, 5 years, 10 years. Why all of a sudden I'm having an increase, and explain to me why you're increasing me to that price. I figured I was going to have to argue and explain to them the value in that increase. And to the contrary, it was the complete opposite. They actually responded to me and said, we understand the value of what you do for us and we accept that.
That is a beautiful thing. It really shows the level of the work that you're doing and how wonderful that you have these great clients that appreciate what you bring to the table. Do you feel that you're able to actually raise the bar with the level of client care or services that you're doing also because of the fact that they are paying more?
I do. I feel like when you feel like you're being paid for your value and your worth, you respect that client more.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so are there any other things that you've done to maybe fine tune your system and that's helped to grow your income?
I think the main other thing that I've done was staffing myself appropriately and building out a good workflow within our office so that I'm not the sole moneymaker and everybody is not relying on me in order to get work done. It means I can work on my business instead of being an employee of my business. I'm working on my business. I'm growing it while my employees are the ones working the business.
Okay, then that's actually one more boundary that you've brought into your firm as well, is you're no longer the only one that is doing the direct client services. You've been able to get some things off your plate. And as a result of that, other people are also contributing to the financial bottom line, which lightens your workload.
Yes,
What was something that you got off your plate, Karyn?
a lot. I would say probably with one of my biggest, well, no, I would say my biggest client, I was the go-to person and I was getting 50 Slacks a day and 10 emails a day. And it was a lot of time just hand holding that one client. And so I've pushed that over to one of my employees, and I would say I'm maybe getting 5 Slacks a day instead of 50. They're learning to more go directly to, when it comes to the day-to-day stuff,
Mm-hmm.
they're going directly to the employee instead of going through me.
Okay. And once more, there's another boundary in place that you didn't have before, and the amount of time that gets freed up when you're no longer having interruptions with Slack all the time, emails, phone calls on every time that something comes up in a client's mind and they want an immediate answer. So,
and another thing that I've done that's I never had the time to do before is I've joined a local marketing group. And I hesitated to do it in the past because it doesn't require a time involvement, but now I have the time to do it. Mm-hmm. So it's another way that I get out there. I meet other business owners and I can market my business.
Okay. And one of the things that I think you've mentioned a couple of times is you now have the capacity, because some of these processes that you put in place, to be able to work on your business, being the face of the business, being the one out there that is representing the business, but not doing as much of the technical work as you had been doing before.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. And I'll tell you, I struggled too with how do I find the right employees? And I've never been good at managing employees, but one thing that you've been very instrumental in teaching me is how to be business minded, quit being friend minded when it comes to my employees. And that's made a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Can you just explain a little bit more in a way that's comfortable to you about what you're talking about? Because I understand what you're talking about, but it might not be some that other people understand.
You know, I hired a longtime friend, and I thought, who better to support me in my business than somebody who knows me and has my best interest at heart? And it was not a good fit. I should not have done that. and it was not a good fit. And I did that before I had engaged you. And after I engaged you, it gave me the confidence that I needed to sever that business relationship without, you know,
Mm-hmm.
too much turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
Without any turmoil, really. It was just an easy business decision for me. Whereas in the past, I think I would have kept that person on. Just
Right. So one of the things that I know that we celebrate in our community is when you lower your tolerance level.
yeah, that's it right there. Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing. It means that instead of saying yes to everybody, which is at the toll of yourself, you're now being more discreet about what to say yes to, and you now have the skill set to have some difficult conversations that you didn't have the skill set to do before.
Exactly. And in addition to having that skill set, well, that was probably one of the most difficult situations because I was able to handle that professionally. I don't even hesitate at being in that situation with a client. Whereas I used to be afraid of going to my clients and having them say, no, I'm not afraid of that anymore.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious, does that maybe cross over into your personal life also, where you see some differences now that you didn't?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to go into details with that
No,
one, but
but it has.
but one of the things that I love from what you're talking about with the boundaries, feeling more confident, having difficult conversations that you were avoiding before, is what we're doing in your business has the ability to cross over and also increase the quality of personal relationships also.
It does.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
not
think
like
that, yeah, it's definitely done that for me as well.
yeah, it's not like you have boundaries in just one party life and then the boundaries in the other party life stay messed up.
Yeah.
So, and just, I know that we've touched on some things. Do you feel that there were any other hurdles that you had to face on a personal basis or that had to do with just confidence issues?
Oh, definitely. I mean, this has been a major confidence booster for me. And I think that's why I struggled in setting boundaries, raising my fees, and conveying my worth because I didn't recognize that. And I had to recognize that in order to be able to convey that to my clients.
One of the things I do know also and want to really acknowledge with you, Karyn, is that a lot of things that we talked about doing, you didn't have the confidence to do them, but you did them anyway, even though they were challenging your limits.
Yes.
And want to just acknowledge that you were so committed to making a difference for yourself as well as for the people that you work with, your clients, that you were willing to get out of your own way in order to really make that difference and raise the bar of what you offer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now that you know how to value price your work and you lead with value in everything that you do, anything else that you've seen that's changed, whether it's business related or personally?
I think more than anything, as I enjoy my work again. I got to the point where I didn't even enjoy it. I dreaded coming to the office, and especially on the weekends. And I will still occasionally come to the office on a Saturday morning, but that's because I want to and not because I have to, because that's my quiet time. My staff's not here, my phone's not ringing. And so now Saturday work mornings are actually enjoyable again.
Excellent. I know that we've covered a lot so far. Anything else that you feel would be helpful to mention?
I think it's just kind of like you said, I had to get out of my own way in order to grow. And build my confidence. I had to understand my value. I had to understand my worth, and I had to feel confident about that and be able to portray that to my employees as well as my clients.
And you are the best investment you can make in your business. That's how I feel about it. And that it sounds like you made that investment back in a couple months, faster than. How long did you think it would take to make it back?
I didn't think I was going to make it back in a year. So to have made that back in the first 2 months, what was amazing. As I watched my bank account grow, I had fear of watching it go down, and here I'm watching it go up. So yeah, that was nice.
Nice. If somebody wants to reach out to you, Karyn, and talk with you further, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Probably the quickest and easiest way is to go to our website, which is it's going to be total-sum, S as in Sam, U, M as in Mary.com. They can shoot me an email. They can schedule on my calendar from there.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me today. Really love watching your progress, everything that's happened, and that it's not just about improving what's going on work related. It's that it flows into your personal life and we raise the bar as far as that goes too.
Exactly. Yes.